Ba-ba-ba-ba. Welcome, Joe, back after a week away. Welcome back, Joe.
Thank you. Welcome back to you, too.
Don't do that. Sincerely to you.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And then you sent me something yesterday. I was flying back from Philadelphia, and I ended up scrolling through your Instagram page and all the pretty pictures of your beautiful wife and you with some old basset hound, and got the whole history of Joe while I was sitting here on the plane. It's very nice.
Wait, what did I send you? I don't know.
I know, it's something, and then it got me into your Instagram page, and I was able to just sit there. That's stalking. Stalking. I just, was there. Nothing better to do. So, good. It's fun.
It's not bad.
By the way, I just saw that Amazon makes $15,000 a second. People are shopping online right now. $18,000 a minute. That's, so there you go. $15,000 a second is what Amazon's making right now off of everybody.
It's good work if you can find it.
We'll talk about people will continue to spend during the holiday season, even though they're still paying off debt from last year. Not a good idea. Oh, well, another thing came out yesterday. I saw this today, and my wife's like, please, I'm so sick of your lecturing. Well, you wanted to marry me, sweetheart. Here's a story I saw in the Wall Street Journal. This is from New Tax Foundation. They looked at all the numbers. The top 1% now pays 40% of all federal taxes collected. Top 40%. So you take the top 10% of all earners, 70% of all taxes collected. So here's a speech I gave Nick. I said, imagine walking into a church. You have 100 pews, and you get 100% of all the money out of all the pews. You go up to the first pew. You hand the basket down, like the Catholics. It goes down there. And you get to the first pew. The first pew, that's 1%. You get 40% of all tax dollars collected in the first pew. And then you go the next 9 pews, you now have 70% of all the dollars collected. Now you still have another 90 pews to go before you get the rest remaining 30% of money needed. Those are the new numbers that came out. So don't forget, we're not taxing the rich enough. Okay. Went back for the Curley Thanksgiving. I haven't been back, and I would guess, oh, my God, probably more than 20 years or something like that. So it was nice to get home. I had not been home. We went back because I spent more time with my brother. I'm not going to go into particulars on it, but just want to see my brother more.
Was he hosting?
Was he hosting? Yes, he did host. He did. Robbie hosted and Chuck hosted, and his beautiful daughters. JJ was there, and Sarah, and the husbands, which were great. And I guess we'd probably about 30 of us there packed into the house. And this is the home that I went to 20 years ago. My mom was still alive, who used to sit out in the car, and she would call or tell my brother, because she didn't like to use a cell phone. Her cell phone was for emergencies only, so it sat in a drawer in the kitchen. I'm like, Mom, you should probably charge it. Oh, I'm only going to use it when I need it for an emergency. Like when it's in your drawer at home in the kitchen. So she used to pull up. And my brother I guess Robbie would go out. Hey, Sally, she could call me when the bird's on the table, because she didn't like to come in. She'd just sit in the car. So weird. And then she would either leave the car running to keep it warm. She'd run in, eat the turkey, and then leave. She didn't care about dessert necessarily, and she'd just go back home again. It's because she just didn't want to sit there with a bunch of, she used to describe them as boring people. And my father, because I was also there for that Thanksgiving, my dad would sit on the couch. My kids were little, and my dad would say, the kids would go, who's that? Who's that? These different people would come in. My dad, who is that? Who is that? And he'd look over, some cousin or whatever, a sister-in-law. He goes, yeah, we don't care about them. That's what he used to say to the kids. They're like, we don't. Why do we care about them? They're not like Curly. I don't know who. They don't care about them. They don't count. So to be able to get back there and see, now here's the family. The daughters are beautiful and married and doing quite well. And there's my brother and his wife. They've been together for 40-some years, still living in the same house they purchased 40 years ago, this beautiful little house there in Wayne, Pennsylvania. And it was just lovely. I don't think I've been that happy in the longest time, just sitting and enjoying the weirdness of the Curley family. And then now we have other people that have now become part of the weirdness of the whole family. We did the ceremony reenacting of my father stepping over a guy named Tom, who had some sort of medical condition which flares up every once in a while. My dad was in the middle of explaining to somebody. So we reenacted that. That was nice. For the people that didn't know, that were like new to the thing, I said, hey, we're going to do the thing where you reenact where my dad stepped over Tom and he's bleeding on the floor. They're like, yeah, let's do that. So then we reenacted it. So my father was in the middle. He'd come up with this idea for a board game all about the Electoral College. Because he said, you watch that stuff on TV. Oh, you're going to get this. It comes down to 4 states. We had this whole plan. And it was going to be a board game. You open it up, you roll the dice, a certain amount of money you can spend on which state you want. And I'm like, Dad, I don't want to burst your bubble. Because he'd worked on it for a long time. He even had little cards he'd made and everything. And I think, somebody can get this in the stores. I'm like, Dad, this just a dumb game. But more importantly, you can already do this on the internet. I've seen the game. No, they don't have this. I go, there it is. Here it is. I pull up on my phone. Look, you can play along at home. It's not a board game. I said, I know, Dad, but no one's going to... Who's going to care? So then he was trying to find somebody else to talk to. So he's explaining to this other person apparently we didn't care about earlier, but then all of a sudden we care about her because he's going to explain to her. So he's in the family room, and he goes, now listen, there's 3 states you need. You need Colorado. All right, there's only 4 in play. 4, baby. You get Pennsylvania and Florida and Colorado. So he's following this woman into the kitchen. And while he's in the kitchen explaining to her about all the different, here's how it works. You only need 270. Now, already when you start when you start the thing, he starts to walk away, right? And with that, Tom, who's got this medical condition, falls down, hits his head on the ground, and he's bleeding. I think he bit his lip. And there's silence. So, oh, my God. Tom, are you okay? And my dad steps over the body of Tom while so he goes like this. He steps over and goes, so listen, Colorado, it's not that many states. You got to get Florida and Pennsylvania. You get up to 270. And they're like, Jack, Tom's on the ground. He goes, hey. And so Colorado primarily, and and people are like, what is the significance of that? We're like, oh, here's the story. So all the weirdness that I just wrote to Sammy, that's Nick's daughter, who now she was in town at the time. I said, oh, come spend Thanksgiving with our family. And I wanted to find out from an innocent bystander that's all of a sudden plunked into this, sort of bin of nutcases, what she thought of the whole thing. So I didn't get a chance to get her on the phone.
She probably blocked you.
Yeah. She says I'm in class. I can't call till later.
Okay.
Yeah. Dang. Yeah. All right. Darn.
So was Tom a member of the family or like?
He was I think. He married an older woman that is somehow related to somebody else in there. Yeah.
Okay.
He's gone now.
Oh, that wasn't that night, was it?
No.
Okay,
No, wasn't that night. But it was. I hope for anybody else out there listening that you had a chance to. Reflect on the gratitude, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's about. But I sat there in that chair. I was like, God, I am so blessed to be surrounded by such crazy, wonderful people, my sister and everybody else. I got a chance to talk to Sherry, who got a job. She's teaching at a college, and they weren't going to hire her. They said, your resume was a little thin. You didn't have much academic stuff. And Sherry said to the man about to hire her, well, I mean, what am I going to do? Get a master's in radio? Who would do that? And the guy goes, I did that. If I hired her anyway.